Hello and welcome. This is episode number 27 for Escape the J Curve, and I am your host, Rohan Nag. Today I'm going to publish my interview with a dear old friend of mine, Arish Ali, and it was a fascinating interview. And to be honest, it could be one of the most interesting interviews that I have done. And the reason why it's so interesting is because Ali has lived a very, very interesting life. It's full of ups and downs, different work, different achievements, different realizations. And we go through all of those in a 40-minute episode today. So strap in. This is a fun episode. This is a very interesting episode, and you will get a lot of value out of it as well. Thanks for tuning in.
Hello?
Ali, can you hear me?
Hey Rohan, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Absolutely loud and clear, and welcome to the show. Welcome to Escape the J Curve.
Am I enough?
Thank you so much for joining. So, yeah,
Thanks, man. I thought you would.
I thought, sorry?
So this goes directly to the podcast.
There's no editing.
This goes
We're
directly
live.
to the podcast. There's no editing.
But that's okay. So I like
Alright,
it that way. I
awesome.
don't like to edit much. I just
cool.
like to keep it natural, whichever way the conversation flows. I think that's interesting to me. So I like to keep it that way. I don't edit much. Awesome. So let me
Sure.
set a
Let's go
quick
ahead then.
context. So I think I met Ali in around end of 2015 or early 2016. And the first time I met him, I was immediately taken aback by his intelligence and his wisdom. So he's much younger than me, but he had a clear direction of what he wanted to do in life. Obviously, he was very smart. He was working as a data scientist in one of the leading data science companies, and we had a lot of overlaps about entrepreneurship, becoming the best version of yourself, and things like that. And we used to hang out quite frequently and talk about these things, and we had very, very interesting conversations. But after a point, I think Ali moved to Hyderabad, and we lost touch a little bit. But I found out that when he moved to Hyderabad, he started his own business, and I was very proud of him. And after that, a few months after that, I figured that he went off all social media. So our contact was completely broken, and I didn't speak to him for a long time. I found out later that he was going through a tough time, but yeah, I guess we are catching up after a long time on this podcast episode. Does that sum it up?
Yes, man. It's been long, and thanks
No,
for
absolutely.
the nice introduction. And yeah, it's
So,
great to be on the show.
if it's not too personal, can we discuss what happened after you moved to Hyderabad, and how did you get into tough times, or what challenges did you face?
So it was actually pretty interesting. Okay, because it would kind of go against the notion
Oh, really?
of what some of the
Interesting.
self-help book says.
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
So hear me out. Okay, hear me out. So this was towards the end of 2018, and this was towards the end of 2018, and
Okay.
I was in a different zone. Okay, so I had achieved the level of social success that I wanted to achieve. I was way too social, so coming from a very introverted background, being an introvert myself, not talking much, to the peak of my social life, or
complete,
I don't know what you would call it,
complete opposite.
but I was
where you
out.
started, basically.
Complete opposite, complete opposite. So it was the end of 2018, and by the
Mm-hmm.
time I was going out every single day of the
Okay.
week, every single day of the week. uh,
Mm-hmm.
my days would start in the afternoon
Wow.
and then continue till next day morning. So yeah, towards the end of 2018, and then in
Yeah.
December 2018,
Right.
I went on a trip to Thailand, and that trip was also
Mm-hmm.
let's say enlightening moment, because the that was it. Like that was all the social skills or everything that I wanted to learn.
Okay.
Everything was out there. That was it. Okay, and when I came back, I continued with the same
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle of going out
Right.
every single day, partying. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but yeah, I there was a bit of so
Don't worry
I
about it. Just, yeah,
okay.
get it off your chest.
help, yeah, help me out here, Rohan. Okay, am I allowed to say that
Ye-
I went and stripped in a bachelorette party,
Wow.
and I was invited as a stripper guest.
My God. Yeah, like so much happened since we last spoke. Okay. That's amazing.
Yep. So it was a friend's bachelorette party. There were 10 of them, and
Okay.
they wanted
I'll do it.
someone to strip for them. So I was like, sure, go ahead. Yes. Okay. uh, but then the whole lifestyle kind
Hmm.
of hit me. Okay, where do I go from here? What's next? Like
Right.
this cannot be it, because that was
Mm-hmm.
it for a really long time for me, because
Yeah.
that is what I was
Yeah.
aiming for, that is what I wanted for a really long time.
What next?
So when I finally
Yeah.
got that, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, where next, what next? uh, so then I decided, okay, I am done. Like as soon as and I met so I had a
Mm-hmm.
4-day contract with this company. I was supposed to do that 4-day thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have been paid 4 lakhs for the 4 days. Like
Okay.
it would total into 4 lakhs. I had ample time to prepare for it. I had enough heads up for the thing, but I couldn't uh, put myself to work, and I couldn't go there. So I was like, sorry, I have met an accident, and that's when I was like, okay, I had such a great opportunity, I missed it. So this
Okay.
is
So
not
what was going through your
going as I
mind
had
back
planned.
then? You didn't really want to work. Like you could not engage with the work. You just wanted to be in that state, like talking to people and socializing, and working was complete. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a high. It was a high. So if someone
Mm-hmm.
has known any addiction, they would know that when a
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
catches on to you, it stays. So okay, uh,
Okay.
then I went cold turkey. So from socializing every single
Okay.
minute of the day to zero socializing for a month. I
Amazing.
did not own a cell phone.
So pretty much a social media detox, and that was the time phase
Yeah,
when I was talking about. I could not reach out to you on social media. You were completely off all the platforms. Hmm.
yes. Uh, but here's where that went. So, and my plan was
Okay.
that I'll
Yeah.
do only two things during this period.
Okay.
Okay, work and workout. That was the plan. So this is me till now, and this is my
Hmm.
ideal version that I think I should be. And I'm emphasizing the word I should be, and this is the what I thought, because things will change later on. But uh, in the month of
Yeah.
January
Mm-hmm.
2019, that's what I was thinking. Okay, this is how I should be. And if you have heard this phrase
Yeah.
that
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
motivation is a myth, just
Hmm.
just keep that in mind. Okay, and just keep that in mind. So this is what happened. Okay, in the month of January, I gave up all social media, gave up everything.
Okay.
My only focus was work and workout. 2 months into it, I haven't done much work
Okay.
and I hadn't done much workout. And
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
so I'll tell you what happened. Okay, what I was going through. So I was thinking, okay,
Mm-hmm.
as a man of purpose, I should not be
Yep.
driven by motivation. I should be driven by my. So I'm not sure how many of the listeners would
Yep.
know intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. So till then, my whole focus was ex- extrinsic
Yep.
rewards,
Let's
and I was
unpack
trying
that
to
a little
focus
bit.
on
So
intrinsic rewards.
extrinsic reward would something be like money, fame, girlfriend, things like that. And intrinsic reward would be you becoming so
Yes.
detached from the like you are so involved in the process itself of doing something or building something that you do not need those extrinsic motivations. You're just doing it just for the sake of doing it. That's it. You don't need any other motivation. Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. You have put it brilliantly. So this was my thought process that time, and as it turns out, I
Okay.
did not have any motivation. Okay. Uh, so from
Mm-hmm.
chasing highs to not chasing anything, it that I would say it
Okay.
was a period of 6 months. There
So
was
from
nothing.
January till July, June, July
Like
2019. Hmm.
yes, going from one day to another was just that I have to wake up,
Hmm.
try to do some work,
Hmm.
which I wasn't successful at doing. So during that period, I wasn't able to
Okay.
get myself to do it. Okay, and so my day
Mm-hmm.
involved walking my dog twice a day, and then trying to do something
Okay.
in between. That was basically my day. Okay, uh,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
another interesting thing happened in June. So there was this friend of mine.
Yeah.
She had recently moved to Hyderabad, and she was like,
Hmm.
"Why don't you come over?" And I told her that, "Hey, I can't do it. I'm
Right.
like busy with work and something," which was a lie. I wasn't busy with anything. I would have like
Yeah.
watched a series or seen something. I don't know. Uh, and she was like, "It'd be really great. My boyfriend cheated on me, something like that. I just want some
Okay.
company." And I was like, "Sorry, I can't do it." The call was done,
Hmm.
and that day I could not sleep. In my head, I was like, "This is not it. This is
Okay.
not what I had imagined. This is this is the absolute opposite of what
Okay.
I thought I would be." Because from doing something to
Hmm.
trying to be something I was not. And when I tried to be something I was not, was when I was hit harder
Okay.
than when I was chasing something. And during the
Hmm.
same time, there's this interesting thing that happened. Okay, have you read this book? It's a recent book by Mark Manson. What's his name? Everything is. Can I say the
Yeah.
last
Yeah. You
part?
can. Hmm.
Everything is
Yeah.
fucked.
So his
Okay,
first book was
that's
"You
the book
Shouldn't Give a
name of the
Fuck" or
book.
something like that, right? Or "Stop Giving a Fuck." Okay. Subtle Art of. Yeah. Yeah.
Subtle Art of
That
Not
book.
Giving Up. Yeah, yeah. Huh. Yeah.
Hmm.
Second book is Everything is Fucked. Okay. And I was like, I relate to this. I I relate to this on a personal level. I wouldn't recommend that book. It's not. that great a book, but
Okay.
there's this one line that really hit me, okay, and made a lot of sense. That
Yep.
motivation is an emotion, and
Yep.
emotion is what leads you to action. And I'm not sure. I quickly go into this psychology
Sure.
story. Okay, this is a famous psychology story, and this is quite
Hmm.
against the Stoic principle, but we'll get to that. Okay, so the story is that there's this patient. He was having constant severe migraines or
Aye, aye,
strokes,
aye.
so they
Okay.
had to remove a part of his brain. That part of the brain
I
was
see.
related with emotions. So everyone would think if you remove the emotional part of
Yeah.
the brain, the human will become a rational being. He'll make rational
Yeah.
decisions. He'll think what's best for him. But what actually happened was
Hmm.
that he lost interest in his job.
Mm-hmm.
He lost interest in his family,
Yep.
and he
Yeah.
lost interest in everyday life. Because what we don't realize is that at the end of the day, when we are
Hmm.
trying to be the best version of ourselves, it is driven by an
Okay.
emotional place. We as
Yep.
humans are a very emotional being. So even when the great philosophers of their time talk about being rational, they talk about rationality and that state of being rational from a state in which they aspire to be something, but that aspiration comes
Okay.
from an
Okay.
emotional place. So yes, that brings us to July. And in July I was like, no, this is not how I planned it. This is not what the self-help books promised. So then I started charting out the another phase in my life. So I got into a business with this person I met uh,
Okay.
through a meetup group. Okay, long story short, that business failed in 4 months because uh, it's a climb. If a story tells you that that guy did not sleep that night, he had a change of heart, next day he got
No,
up
it's not.
and everything's perfect. No, it's not. It's a every
Hmm.
it's a everyday grind
Yeah.
that you have to put in the hours. You have to you have to put in the hours. You have to do the hard work. You have to
Yep.
be consistent. You have to be persistent. And that's what brings us to 2020, the probably the worst year for everyone, and pretty good, has been pretty good for
Awesome.
me, at
So
least
what happened in
decent.
2020?
So I,
Hmm.
like I said, it's a daily grind. It started off with
Okay.
just meditation. That meditation stopped
Yeah.
the chatter in your head. That led to more focus on
Yep.
workout. That led to uh, change in my eating habits. That led to waking up early. That led to devoting almost 2 to 3 hours every day for
Hmm.
continuous focused work, like with zero distraction. 3 hours in one place, the one thing for the day. That led to planning my day in advance
Mm-hmm.
and then executing on that plan. And that led to where I am right now, in which I have contracts with companies for helping
Okay.
them with their
Okay.
analytics work in HR analytics. So, to sum it up, it was not what I thought that I needed to do, but it was actually what I felt. the emotions that I need to be in this particular place, that led me to those actions that made me more focused, that made me more stable,
Hmm.
that made me more centered.
So cool. So, two observations that I found to be very fascinating in your story. Number one, I have done about, I think, about 15 to 20 interviews now, and every person I talk to, they bring up meditation or some kind of a mindfulness practice,
Hmm.
gratitude, meditation, yoga, whatever it is. Like every person talks about it. And
Yeah,
secondly, I think
yeah,
so. We read self-help books and we get high ideals and how we should behave, but I think we all have our own journeys, and we go
yeah,
through these interesting times in our lives which teaches us and maybe even changes us in certain ways. And without those, we wouldn't be able to move forward,
definitely,
no matter how many self-help books we read, or we have to experience it personally, basically. Very, very important points.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. To elaborate on the mindfulness,
Hmm.
I cannot emphasize the importance. Like, I'm not sure if it's too big a
Yeah.
statement, but if you work out and you meditate, it is difficult for you to be
Hmm.
quote loser. It just makes it difficult for you. Like, even if you try to be a loser while you're meditating and working out, it's quite
Absolutely.
impossible for you to do that.
So would you describe your meditation process? I know, like, one of the things to do is headspace, and there are millions of other ways to do it, probably. What has helped you the most? What is your daily practice? What did you do? And for people starting out who have no idea about what meditation is, can you describe the practice? And it's going to be very difficult for beginners, I know that. Like, sitting 5 minutes without a thought, it's almost impossible for beginners. How do you sort of regulate that? How do you slowly build it up to where you can meditate 15, 30, 45 minutes?
So I actually
Hmm.
meditate only for 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the
Okay.
afternoon, and sometimes 10 minutes at the night. And I actually use it
Right.
like people would use coffee. So if I notice, and with mindfulness, what, so I have jumped a bit of questions here, but with mindfulness, what eventually will happen is you'll
Yeah.
be able to assess your state of mind. You'll be able to figure out
Yeah.
when there is too much chatter in your head
Yeah.
and when you're focused, when you're centered. So that is
I think
one
so.
major plus
Sorry to
of
interrupt. So I
meditation.
think that's level
So
two,
that's what I
when
do.
you are, when you'll be able to differentiate between a calm mind and a chatter mind. So basically, the first step is people do not even disassociate themselves with their thoughts. So they think they are their thoughts. That's the first level of, I think, if if you're a beginner, the first thing that you need to do is disassociate yourself with your thoughts. These are just things that pop into your head, and you have to be present to those thoughts and think that, okay, that's a good thought, okay, that's a bad thought, but I am neither of those. I am
Hmm.
just me.
Hmm.
So that's part one. And then you, after some time, I think you get, when you're intermediate or something, then you realize, okay, how focused am I, how much chatter is there in my head. You start to be more cognizant of those things, I think. Hmm.
Yes, yes. So, and to get back to how I started my
Yeah.
meditation
Okay.
practice, I started with Headspace. So, uh, I tried the free version, then I paid for the subscription, did a 30-day full focused meditation, which was like,
Yeah.
there's a segment called focus meditation in that. And then after the 30 days, I realized maybe I do not need 300 to 350 different
Right.
forms of meditation. And then I switched
Hmm.
to this app called Let's Meditate. And from there, I switched to this brilliant app. It's really new on
Right.
the app stores. Almost,
Mm-hmm.
it's just 3 to 4 months old, but brilliant
Okay.
app. It's called
I've
Medito.
not heard of it. Let me check it out.
Yeah, it's super new, but it's free, and it has all the basics covered. Like, you would not need anything more than that for a
Fantastic. So,
regular
are you
meditation
saying that
practice.
Headspace is a bit more complicated for beginners? You should start off with Medito. Okay. Okay.
Yes, and stick to Medito. And if they ever feel that they
Hmm.
have matured enough from Medito, they can just do the mindfulness
Makes
practice
sense.
on their own.
Yeah. Once you get used to it, I don't think you need a platform. You can do it yourself. If you start with guided meditation and then you can train yourself with unguided meditation and do it for 30 days to 45 days, I think you can do it on your own.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Maybe that's what's daunting about meditation and mindfulness. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
getting out of your own head. That's it.
So people spend a lot of time being stuck in their heads, and meditation sort of brings you back into reality, brings it back into your body, brings you back into nature, and you don't think as much like negative thoughts and other thoughts. You just get used to not thinking as much, and that's when the magic happens, be it socially, be it new
Yeah,
ideas for businesses or new ways of doing something. Yeah.
yeah. And you mentioned gratitude, so that is
Yeah.
something that I'm recently very big on. So I've been practicing gratitude for the past
Yeah.
month and a half, and that thing is a blessing. like like if anyone can see me right now, I am making the face you would make when you eat like a really amazing chocolate cake. Okay, trust me on this. Whoever's listening, practice gratitude for 10 to 15 days. You will see the kind of shit that you would used to get upset about,
Yeah.
which would not upset you anymore. Because I remember there was this day someone had posted something related to
Hmm.
coronavirus,
Oh
which
my
was
God, it's
unscientific.
happening
Okay,
so much
that's
these
it.
days, and
That's it.
almost 90% of the news I read on WhatsApp or any other website is so, it's not backed by scientific studies. It's just people with their opinions, and sometimes it's almost a very high percentage of the times it's also the news and media entertainment complex that are uh, and we know why they do it. We know that.
Giving
Yeah.
voice to us. Yes,
Sorry.
yes. So the thing is, there is so much of it out there that you cannot possibly afford to get upset by every single one of them. And that is what I was doing. So gratitude is one thing that helped me switch from that. Like, gratitude helped me become this person who is not bothered by these
Absolutely.
things
So
anymore.
I read a great quote somewhere. It says, do you really think success creates happiness, or happiness is the source for success? So if you're a happier human being, you're more likely to produce good things, be in win-win relationships and things like that. So people think like once you become successful, you'll be happy, but it's the other way around. Once you are happy, you start producing greater quality output, and good things start happening. So that's ties back in with what you were saying about your
Yes,
emotional
yes,
regulation that you had a problem with in beginning of 2019. You are not motivated to go out there and do things that you wanted to do, that deep down logically you knew you should be doing. But yeah.
yes, yes. So yeah, gratitude is another thing which has been amazing.
Awesome. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think around 2018 you started a startup, right? Or you co-founded, or you worked with someone in the psychology space, or I.
Yes, that
Okay.
has been a story in itself, and that is what I'm still
Okay.
working on in a different aspect. Okay, so right now my company is involved in
Mm-hmm.
providing HR analytics services. Okay, which is use of analytics to help people recruit better and also
Okay.
manage their workforce better. It sounds super boring, but I'll get
Okay.
to
Sure.
how what happens. Okay, I'll get to that. So, uh, 2017, I have
Hmm.
2017 January.
Yep.
I have quit my corporate job. I am thinking what would be
Yep.
something meaningful that I can do, which is also good use of my skills, which led me to join the startup
Mm-hmm.
called BMO, which was a mental health startup providing mental health services
Wow.
using artificial
So cool.
intelligence. So they were building a chatbot to help
Okay.
people using artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Because I had a love for psychology
Yeah.
and I had a love for analytics. So, uh, though it was a very small team, we did make some difference, but we couldn't achieve the target that we set out. And the CEO of the company went into
Hmm.
some financial crisis, so the company shut
Yeah.
down. But I continued on the same path. For a really long time, I continued with the same mission of
Okay.
providing people psychotherapy using artificial intelligence. But in between that, two things happened. So that time I had a podcast on
Mm-hmm.
mental health, and I also read this one
Okay.
book called Lost Connections. And I'll
Sure.
tell you how both of them are connected. Okay. So in one of my podcasts, there was this guest called uh, I'm forgetting his name. So he has a company called Walls and Us. It's a
Mm-hmm.
non-profit mental health organization, and he was talking about mental health with such passion, with such selflessness, that it made me question my own motivation to run a for-profit mental health organization. And the second thing was Lost Connections. So Lost Connections is a book which talks about how depression and anxiety, and sorry, this is a triggering topic, so if anyone has had this problems or is going through the problem, please bear with me. I am not
Mm-hmm.
in any way saying these are trivial, but what the book says is that uh, these are not the disease but the
Yeah.
symptoms of the society that we live in. He talks about how we have
Yeah.
lost connections with meaningful work. We have lost connection with our true values. We have lost connections with each other, and we have lost connections with nature. And this has led to the problem of depression and
Mm-hmm.
anxiety that we know of today. And he basically said that if you feel hungry, that is a signal
Absolutely.
telling your body that you should eat something. That is not something that you would take a medicine
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
reduce its effect, because hunger is a signal. Similarly, depression and anxiety is a signal
It's
that
missing.
something
It's
in your
not the
life
way it
right
should be.
now
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
right. Yes, yes. So that kind of made me look at the mental health crisis from a different perspective. And instead of fixing the symptom, I decided that instead I should focus mainly on the problem, which was that many people are
Yeah.
disconnected from meaningful work. One of the problems was that many people are disconnected from meaningful work, which led me to my current work in HR analytics to help more people with the use of analytics land the desired job that they want and the meaningful job that they could do within a
Which
company.
nourishes their soul as well, not only their bank accounts. Hmm. It's an amazing,
Definitely, yes.
amazing concept. Yeah.
So that's the story of the mental health startup I was in. It has led me in its own way to the current company that I'm running
So I
in
think
HR
this is a
analytics.
conversation that a lot of youngsters would find very valuable when, people who have passed out of college and they don't know what to do. And so it could be youngsters who have passed out of college, say with an engineering degree, and they don't want to do a typical coder's job. They think that they can add more value to society or do some work that will really help a lot of people out. This would be very helpful for them. So where can they find your website, or how can they reach out to you if they want to use your platform to find work that nourishes their soul, to say? Mm-hmm.
Best way to reach out to me would be LinkedIn. I am really active on LinkedIn. That is one of the
Yeah.
places I get most of my work, and that is one of the places where I
Okay.
kind of
So
maintain a
I'll link
brand.
your LinkedIn in the description for
So yeah,
this episode so people can find you.
yeah, you can do that. That'll be great.
So can we go a bit deeper, some deep questions that would. Okay. So
Yeah, let's
awesome.
let's go as
Number one,
like.
what do you value the most as a person? The most valuable thing to you?
Okay,
You can take your
is
time.
this a rapid fire or I can take my time? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
values is
Yes.
who you are at the end of the day. You are not your religion, you are not your government, you are not your place that you're
Yes.
born. You are
Yep.
the values that you hold, right? And interestingly, my values has been different in different stages of my life. As I learned about myself, as I learned
Mm.
about how things really work, and that's why I have this saying to my friends or the certain women in my life that
Okay.
I do not exist.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what that means. Okay, it means that if I
Yeah.
am able to change my values based on my own introspection, not based on
Mm.
circumstances or not based on
Yeah.
external influence, but my own introspection. Okay, are these values serving me? Are
Mm.
these values nurturing me? If I'm able to do that, then there is a high chance that what you have in your mind of me as a person, I am no longer that.
It did. It made a
Did
lot
that
of
make
sense.
sense? So that's why I have this saying that I do not exist, which basically some uh, expands to I do not
Tomorrow.
exist
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
version as you know me. Yes. Which brings us
Mm.
back to what are my values right now. And one thing right now that I value the most is
Mm.
friendship and family. In my opinion, of course, in my uh, research about what adds real meaning to life, what adds uh, happiness to your soul, one of the major recurring themes has been
Yep.
friendship and family. So in my personal belief, of course, it's going to be different from others, but because that's what the values are for. Values are you, and every individual is different, so every value, every
Do you think there
person
are
holding
universal
can hold a
values,
different set of
like
values.
three or four things that every human being should believe in or do believe in? Okay.
I absolutely do not. uh, but there are
Mm-hmm.
certain values that
Yeah.
serves you in terms of happiness, and if you, then again it depends on you, right? How, what is the story that you are telling yourself
Mm.
and what is the story that you want to be told? How do you measure success? How do you look at success? What is success according to you? it's different for everyone. It's different for different people. So even if I say ke, this is the value that makes you most happy, maybe that's not what you're aiming for. Maybe the thing that you're aiming for is
Yeah.
to be remembered as a legend, even though it causes you a lot of pain, even though
Yeah.
it causes you a lot of suffering throughout your life, but you want to be remembered as something of great eminence. So of
Yeah,
course
and
it's
you
different for
say
everyone.
said an amazing thing. Like you do not know what you will be, what will make you the most happy. So you decide in your mind that doing X or achieving this would make you happy. Then you go ahead and actually do it. Then you realize maybe that's not what I wanted, and you go for something else, and then you do it again and do it again, and slowly that peels away the falseness in you, the you that is not true, and you go to the core, and then you find out what you truly about. When you have experienced disillusionment of chasing something that you thought would make you happy but it doesn't, it slowly strips away all that falseness that you think you are, or like somebody else thought that it should be a goal for you. And after going through the journey, you realize, no, I am not XYZ UVX. I am only C. That's the only thing that I want. But I didn't know that 10 years ago. But I went on a journey and figured it out eventually.
Yes, and my only hope is that people allow
Hmm.
themselves the space to grow and allow themselves a space to be like, you know what, that is not me, in spite of what the TV is saying, what the advertisements are saying, what my family assumes, what my neighbor assumes. That's not
Yep.
me. I do not have to be that.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay. Secondly, when you are no longer here, when you have passed away, how would you want people to remember you?
Hmm, that's deep. Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's interesting in two ways. Okay. uh One is my own perception of what I'll be
Hmm.
after I'm no longer here. And on that, my thought is, since it never mattered to me what people
Yeah.
thought of me before I was born, why would be it of any
Hmm.
substance to me
Hmm.
after I'm gone? But uh, still,
Yeah.
like, what would I want my legacy to be? And keeping all the conversation in perspective, because after a long chat, it does put different things in perspective. So I would say, I would say I would want people to say that that guy
Hmm.
lived his life on his own terms. He decided what he wanted to be slash do, and he
Awesome.
did it.
Uh,
Not necessarily Steve Jobs, not just as necessarily Elon Musk, but what I wanted,
hmm.
I did it.
Fantastic. Um, Number three would be your most impactful event or person in your life, somebody or something which has impacted you or shaped your worldview in such a way that you are a completely different person. Would you say that the phase between December 2018 to June 2019 would be the phase which has taught you the most or impacted you the most, or there are other things as well?
That has definitely been
Mm-hmm.
a journey,
Yeah.
because when you go to a dark place and then you
Hmm.
see the light after a really long time, you start to
Absolutely.
appreciate the light even more, because then every day you spend seeing the light, you are grateful that you are no
Yeah.
longer in the dark place. So yeah, that would definitely be something that has shaped a lot of who I am currently.
Awesome.
So yeah, I
And
would
the
say that.
last question, do you have a book recommendation? You've already talked about Everything is Fucked, but any other book that you recommend to people and you think is a must read?
I would. I
Okay,
have
then
a lot of
five.
books to
Then
recommend.
do five book recommendations.
uh, all right, so I'll start with one
Hmm.
for people who are early in their career. It is called
Oh yeah, Cal
So
Newport, right?
Good
I
That They
read this
Can't
book.
Ignore You.
Absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant guy, right?
Me too,
I
dude.
wish I had read that
So
book.
the funny
I
thing
don't know
about
when.
my career
So
was
yeah,
I read a 4 hour work week and I realized, hmm, life should be easy. You should only work 4 hours a week. And people who are working hard to build a skill or do whatever are stupid. Then, about 8 years into my career, 8 years into my
huh,
professional life, I read Cal Newport and he was saying,
huh,
don't follow your passion, build a skill.
huh.
Once you get good at the skill, you'll it will become your passion, or you'll once you become good at it, you will start to enjoy it more. And you need to spend a lot of
Yes,
practicing that skill over and over again. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen with 4 hour working 4 hours per week. But once you do it, you'll be
yes,
highly paid and happy and proud of what you've achieved. So yeah.
yes, yes. So that is definitely one book I would recommend everyone who is early in their career
Yeah,
that they should read.
agree.
Then another one I would say is I am forgetting the name of the book. Okay,
Hmm.
it's called. It has a bad name, but it's by Barbara Oakley.
Okay. I don't think I've read it. So if you remember it, I'll definitely mention it in the description. But what's it about?
So it's about learning how to learn, and
Ah,
it's
okay.
a simple topic. It's basically telling that these are the ways how you should learn. Okay,
Hmm.
and but what that book does and what that book represents
Yeah.
is what is more important. So that book represents change.
Hmm.
So if as a kid or as someone you always had this notion of I am not a maths person, or I am not a public person, or I'm not a whatever, the not a person, right? There are
Yeah.
so many not a person.
Yeah.
That book actually challenges that notion that with enough practice, with enough deliberate practice, you will become the person who you choose to be,
Okay.
irrespective of how hard or how easy you think it's in the start.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is one book which all, and it also teaches you some really good techniques on memorization and uh, how to develop new skills. So it's just a good plus to have in your toolkit.
Fantastic. Okay.
All right. Then which other book? Just give me a second. And these are all the books that I have been reading recently. So these are the ones on top of my head.
Hmm.
I have been a big fan of Seven Habits.
Yeah.
That is a well written book and a well intentioned book as well. So I would recommend that.
So
But
Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, if people by Stephen Covey.
yes, yes, yeah,
Hmm.
that one. So it's easily available.
Yeah.
But that is one of that's also a brilliant book, and that was one of the books I always recommended to everyone. That was the first book I ever recommended to everyone.
Okay.
Like if anyone asked for book recommendation, that would be the book I would say. Okay, if you have to read only one self-help book, make it that book.
Fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree. It's a legend.
Yeah, it's a legend. I think these are good enough for now. If I recall some really good ones that I'm missing right now, I'll text you.
All right, sounds good. And so, with that, I think we come to an end to the interview. I think it was a fascinating episode. We got to catch up after a long time. I got to learn a lot of things, and there are gold nuggets scattered throughout this interview. People can get a lot of value out of it. So, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It's amazing for me as well.
My
I'm
pleasure.
feeling like I had been in a therapeutic session.
Amazing. So let's stay in touch. We have lost touch for the last few years, I guess. I
Yes.
definitely make an effort to stay in touch with you. And best of luck with your HR analytics thing. I think it's an amazing platform, and I will definitely link it in the episode description. Your LinkedIn profile, so that people can reach out to you, so that they can find work that really nourishes their soul. And best of luck for that.
Yep. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Bye bye.
Thanks, buddy. Bye. Listen, thanks so much for listening to the episode. I really appreciate it. Now, if you think you have got any value out of this episode, please make sure to engage with the content. My podcast is available on all of the platforms like Spotify, like Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and it's also even available on YouTube. So if you got some value out of this content, please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment, or please download and share it with someone who would get value out of this. That's all I ask. Thank you so much.